Are you an introverted youth pastor or do you struggle to connect with students? Well, then stick around because today we're talking about 3 tips to help you connect with students in your youth ministry.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we bring you weekly tips and tactics to help you fast track the growth and health of your youth ministry. My name is Jeff Lascola, and this is
Kristen Lascola.
And make sure you guys stick around to the end of this episode. I mean, I guess you could fast forward, but we hope that you enjoy the value that you're getting from it. But make sure you stick to the end. We have a special announcement for you, and only you that watch or listen to the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, wait till the end.
There's ways around that. You know what I hate is when they have those videos like watch till the end.
I know, and you're like, what? Nothing
lame.
happened.
It's like,
well, okay, well, ours might be lame too. So depending on,
I mean, we're not over promising. It's just a cool thing.
But we will under deliver.
Anyways, let's get into the topic for today. So I've got this question a few times this year, and enough to make me think maybe this is episode worthy. So fairly recently, we've talked about how to leverage students to connect with other students. But what if you yourself, the youth pastor, the one in charge, or maybe you're a youth volunteer, which kudos to you. If you're doing like the work to be a better volunteer, I'm like, wow, I'm impressed. Way to go. But maybe you love students, you love student ministry, you love teaching the truth of God's word, but maybe those relational skills don't come very easily to you for one reason or another. So no shame. It doesn't mean you don't love students, like obviously, but it might just mean you're an introvert. Like I've heard introverts.
It's like you might be diagnosed with introvertism.
Nothing wrong with that.
Go see your doctor and they can prescribe you something.
It did sound
Ask
like
your
that.
doctor if introvertitle is right for you.
Introvertuda. Well, honestly, though, I've seen conferences that do whole breakout sessions on how to be an introverted pastor because
like how to become an introverted pastor.
How to thrive as an introverted pastor because you have to people so hard as a pastor. Like I'm an extrovert, and sometimes I feel like I want to take a little longer in the bathroom because it's like maybe I just need someone not to talk to me for like 5 minutes so I can like regather my brain on a weekend. But if you are wired that way, maybe the social aspect and how on you have to be to connect with students feels overwhelming, or maybe you just have a little bit of social anxiety. Maybe you just don't have super strong social skills and you just kind of struggle in that area. Well, today that's what we're going to talk about is how can you connect with students as their youth pastor, as their youth leader, as their small group leader, as a volunteer, whatever you are, if it just doesn't come very easily to you, or maybe you're just getting started and you're like, hey, this whole student ministries thing seems cool. I don't really know how to talk to kids. Well, we're going to go through 3 ways today to help you improve in that area. And even if you've been doing it for a long time and relationship skills come naturally to you, this could fine tune those skills a little bit for you. So we've got something for you too. So the number 1 tip I have is in all capital letters, with an exclamation point, play. That's the number 1 fastest way I have seen to connect with kids. I mean, being a parent, you know this. Yeah. You've seen it. What do your kids want to do literally all the time with you? Play.
Watch TV.
Play. They would usually take that over TV.
Yeah.
As long as they got to make all the rules, tell you what to do, boss you around, and always be the winner. They want to play.
Sounds like you.
Jeff, you're so funny.
Good night, everybody.
Shut up. I mean, oh, you're so cute. So here's the thing. Playing it's a fun way to connect, and for the introverted type, it's very low risk because when you play, your attention is
on the doing, the playing.
And while you're playing, relationship happens, but that's not the focal point. And it's a good initial thing to do. Like if you don't know someone, student very well, if you're just trying to get to know them, a really fast way to break the ice and not have to stammer through small talk is play together. So a great example of this weekend, we played one of my favorite games, Stop the Bus. I've been banned from playing this game under my old intern, but guess what? She's not there anymore. So
you've been reinstated?
I reinstated myself. She said, you're too competitive and you win every round, which, sorry, haters gonna hate, right? So I couldn't help myself. We were playing Stop the Bus, and there was these two girls that I've had just the hardest time connecting with. They're very shy, very quiet, very introverted. They don't want to talk. They don't want to be involved. They just come, sit, and leave, right? So I just jumped on their team, and they didn't invite me, but I went, and I'm like, we will win this, girls. And so working together with them, I didn't have to be like, so how was your weekend? And they like, there's just certain people who conversation is very difficult, I guess is the best word. I mean, it just is so like agonizingly hard sometimes to pull information. Then you feel awkward, they feel awkward. But when I sat with these two girls and I'm like, okay, hurry, I need a store that starts with the letter D. Hurry, I need a book that starts with the letter D. And like I'm like, all right, hurry. And then I was like, stop the bus. And we won. It was like we mopped the floor with everybody. And then at the end, we're high-fiving. I'm like, you guys won candy. And she's like, we won candy? Like she was so excited. And it was like, okay, we didn't leave best friends, but I definitely made a dent in our relationship.
Yeah.
We had some positive interaction. There's no way they would have won without me. Just saying, you're welcome. And so they had a positive experience.
Did they?
I sure did. I won. But it kind of like forced them to kind of get in the mix. And it was a good time. So playing with those kids, just like being on their team, going for it, like diving headfirst into the games.
Kind of gives you something to talk about too.
Exactly.
Like what you did or as you're doing it. I think that's why a lot of people do like on first dates, we'll go to like see a movie.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just sit next to each other for 2 hours and then we'll have something to talk about afterwards.
Yeah. Or like miniature golf, because then you're like kind of chatting and doing like, there's not so much conversational pressure, yet there's good vibes being built between you guys. So I think playing is huge. So here's what you could do. Like I've seen leaders grab a tennis ball, play butts up. Let's play wall ball out in the hallway and get in trouble by our campus pastor. Let's grab a ball and play Foursquare. This weekend, we have a basketball hoop in our room. There's this kid. He's kind of homeschooled and quiet. He doesn't really know that many people, but he wanted to play horse with me. And I'm like, I'll play horse. Like, I will beat you too. Now, see how competitive I am? This is why I love youth ministry. Actually, I think he beat me finally. I had a good lead on him for a while. So, or he always wants to play like air hockey or something.
Yeah.
So just have enough options in your room that it's like you can just grab a basketball, grab a Foursquare ball, grab a game controller, do things together. We've talked a lot about the purposes behind those things in your room, but here's another one is if you're an introvert, if they're an introvert, if you're having a hard time connecting with students, we say, oh, do it for students so that they feel comfortable in your room. But sometimes it's for the youth pastor so that they have a way to interact. So this weekend I was jumping around from playing horse to playing Foursquare to sitting with the girls and coloring. I was jumping all around, but interacting and playing with students the whole time, taking that pressure off of that face-to-face small talk. And, we'll eventually grow into that. But right now you could build your collateral that way until everybody gets comfortable. And then when it comes to like the organized games at youth group, like a lot of times the youth pastor is facilitating the game and they're not necessarily playing the game. Make sure you play the game. Don't be that like leader that just, like watches everyone have fun. Get in there, play dodgeball, play basketball, play capture the flag, like go for it if you can. I know that role of leading and roughing and playing can get tricky. You can use some other leaders for that, but I think it's really important that you're playing the games as well.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, we played head, shoulders, knees, and cups, and it was a boys versus girls competition. I was the last girl And I went head to head with my 19-year-old intern who is probably 8 feet tall. Quinn, he's humongous.
So then if you should have had the advantage then, being
his
low.
hands are this big. And his arms are this long. We did head, shoulders, knees, cup. I got to the last, it was just me and him out of like 100 people. It came down to us. And he got me. But it was so cool because like the girls were like, good job, Kristen. Yeah. Or, like before the round started, they're like, Kristen, which maybe this is all just stroking my own ego. But it was cool because I felt like I was on their team. Yeah. And they saw me as being on their team, not like, oh, that's the adult who leads the thing.
Right.
It's like,
you're one of us.
Exactly. And it put me right on their level. They were high-fiving me like, it's okay. You did your best, and there was this camaraderie that was getting built that if I just had the microphone and was directing people, I would be seen as the other, right. Not one of them. So, make sure you're getting in there and playing on their level. All right. Number 2, if we do want to move into conversation, here are some conversation tips that really help me engage with students. I feel like I'm engaging constantly on the weekends, and you will be tired. If you are youth pastoring well and you're all about people and building connections, you should be pretty exhausted at the end of church because it's all about everyone else. And you know what I've realized? People need a lot of attention.
Especially youth.
Oh, I almost didn't hear the at the end. I was like, okay.
Especially you.
I do? Oh. I never thought of myself that way. It's okay. I can take constructive criticism.
Haven't you been listening to everything you've been saying about these games?
They were chanting my name, and I won.
What's this episode about again? Me? Let's go on.
Oh, dear. Okay, so here are those conversational tips. So, number 1, always call them by their name, if you know it. I've made that mistake before. And be super excited to see them. So, right off the bat, you're in the game. If you see a kid walking down the hallway, Kennedy, yes! Followed by side hug, high five, fist bump, whatever. Now, junior hires especially are very physically affectionate. They want to be like human contact, right? So whatever you're comfortable with, a side hug, a fist bump, a high five, a piggyback. Just kidding. I have tried to jump on a kid's back before. And they'll be like, let me see if I can carry you. Jump on. And I'm like, I'm going to crush you. No, I can do it. I don't trust them. So they are physically affectionate. So that very excited, like the tone you set with how excited you are to see them will carry you very far for the rest, because everybody wants to feel like seen and that someone was stoked they were there. Like, Brandon, yes, like that goes a long, long way. So try to learn their names if you don't already know them. So then here's a side note pro tip. If this is a kid that you haven't seen in a while. So I had a girl who she was gone for months and months and months, and she's finally back. Don't guilt people when you see them for the first time in a long time.
Where have you been?
Right. Change that into,
it's so good to see you.
I missed you so much. And give them a hug. I'm so happy you're here. Everything feels right now. You guys, we can keep going. Kennedy's back. You can just be funny about it, but never guilt someone for not being at church. Never guilt them for not being at youth group. Just focus on, you are here and we're stoked. I think we think maybe that will in some weird way encourage them to keep coming if they're a little shamed, but I think it kind of is counterproductive and works the other way. They feel like, oh, you've kind of been mad I've been gone, not excited that I'm here.
Right.
So questions then. So you see them, you've made the first contact, you're so stoked they're here, you've made a big deal about it. People need you to make a big deal about them. Always make a big deal about them all. Make a huge deal about them. Everyone wants to be celebrated. So I usually just start off with, hey, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. My go-to question that usually sparks enough conversation to carry us is, how was your weekend? What did you guys do? Now, I have a lot of kids that say nothing, and that is really hard. And so you might have to say, well, what if, like, if it's church, I'll be like, well, what are you guys doing today? What are you doing after church? You got to be doing something fun, what
do you wish you were doing?
That's a good question. If you could get in the car and go anywhere and your mom said, yeah, I love that, where would you want to go? Or what do you wish you could have done this weekend? Or, something like that. And then if there's an event coming up, I sometimes take the opportunity to say, like, are you coming to the overnighter? Oh my gosh, you should totally come. Have you ever been to one before? I bet your friends are coming, and then you can talk about an event that's coming up with them. Another great intro is compliments. So, once you've been chatting for a while, you can say things like, everyone loves the encouragement. Everyone loves compliments. Like, oh my gosh, you have the best smile. You're just like, sometimes I'll say this to some of the kids, like, you're a ray of sunshine when you come in here. I just love your smile. Or, oh my gosh, those shoes are amazing. Like, where did you get them? Or, you're so kind. Like, you always treat people so well. Like, I'm so proud of you. I love your hair. Like, if they just got a haircut, something like that. So, complimenting people on their character, on something they're wearing, just always leaning into that positive thing, something you've noticed about them. I'll go up to kids and say, hey, like, I saw you let them have your place in line. Like, that was really nice of you. Or, oh, I saw you buy that kid a soda. Like, wow, like, that went noticed. Like, I'm so proud of you. So take every opportunity to compliment your students when you see something in them, or, just use it as like a icebreaker for a conversation of like, oh my gosh, that hat, that's so cute. Where'd you get it? Like, the Padres have this like cute, like, aqua and pink hat right
their
now.
Alternative jersey thing.
Yeah. And so when I would see kids wear it, I'd be like, yes, like, I don't even like baseball, but oh my gosh, that's the cutest hat ever. Like, have you gone to any games this season? You can just use that as a jumping off point. Who's your favorite player? And, when's the last time you went to Petco? And okay, best snack at a baseball game, go.
Petco, the baseball stadium, not the store.
Yeah, it's where the Padres play in San Diego. That would have been weird.
When's the last time you were at Petco? What pets do you have? What do you buy?
What about when's the last time you were at Target? What's going on at Target? What kind of shampoo do you use? Your hair smells good. That's what kind. Do you wear deodorant?
Who's your favorite player? When's the last time you were at PetSmart?
Do you like flip flops or Birkenstocks?
Hey, it's just a quick thing to add here. There was a lot of things that I just...
you've already added your quick things.
If you are not good with names, I know the whole thing is like, when they tell you your name, you're supposed to repeat it back. I've tried that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes if you feel like you can really like peg a kid with a nickname that would help you, I think people in general, but kids especially, they love nicknames. It feels very like special. It's like, this is the name that was picked for me, that you gave me, as long as it's not offensive, obviously. But if you could just look at them and think, oh my gosh,
what would be an example of an offensive nickname? Well, I'm just kidding. Don't say that.
Like, I remember we had a kid, his name was, I won't say his name, but it just sounded like very, very regal. And I always called him the Senator. Senator Joe,
and then, Senator.
And he just became the Senator. Like, that was the distinguished gentleman from, wherever. And so he loved it. And I think he would even introduce himself to other students as the Senator.
That reminds me, we had this kid named Kirk, and he would always volunteer to pray. Like, when you say, would anyone like to open us up in prayer? And kids immediately like break eye contact with you. Well, he would always pray, and he always would raise his hand. And I started calling him Pastor Kirk. And like when families send the Christmas card and then like the letter of like, here's what our family's been up to. Yeah. They said Kirk's youth group now refers to him as Pastor Kirk, and he loves it. Like, it made it into his family's
That's awesome.
Christmas card. It was so cute. And then we had this kid who made a lot of guacamole, and his name was Morgan. We called him Morgamole.
Guacamorgan. It went back and forth. There's been a lot over the years.
Good guac. Thank you, Morgan, if you're listening.
We had Maximus because he looked like Russell Crowe. So anyways, there's been a lot, but they love it. You know, it makes them feel special. And,
was that Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, you look exactly like Russell Crowe.
Blonder, but yeah. So yeah, that's a great, tip. If you could come up with a nickname, it makes you more friendly, and it
might help you remember the a name for them.
But the bonus of that is it kind of builds this fun rapport that you might not have had otherwise. Okay, so we talked about the compliments, and then another conversation strategy with kids is to follow up with something that happened. So, for example, I have this kid who he's like in ads, and he'll be like, oh, sorry, I can't come to church. Like, I have an audition and stuff like that. So I saw him at church on Sunday. I'm like, hey, you're here. And he had like this really cute smile. I'm like, when does your commercial air? I want to see it. He goes, it's a print ad, so it won't be a commercial. I said, okay, I'm printing it out and you're going to autograph this for me. I'm so excited. So it's like, following up with like what's going on in their personal life. Or a very easy one is, hey, you guys had a football game over the weekend. Tell me about it. How'd it go? What was the score? Who'd you play? Did you score any points? Stuff like that. If they're into sports, they'll just talk about it. They'll love it. You could follow up with, a vacation. Hey, you guys went to Maui. How was it? Tell me the top 3 highlights. What were the coolest things that you guys did? So remembering what they've been up to in their personal life, that's a great conversation starter. And then joking. So like once you've kind of like built all that, like how I was saying to that kid, oh, send me your print ad. I need an autograph. Like, I want to say I knew you. And, just always like not joking at their expense, but like always adding, I think, humor, adding that into a relationship.
If that's their vibe too.
Well, and I'm talking like low level humor. I'm not saying like to be a comedian to them. Like, all right, you guys ready for some jokes? So a horse walks.
You're horrible. So no, but I mean, like if some kids just like they are all serious and it's someone who just can't go.
Yeah,
there
you might
them.
be able to break through. Exactly. Like check their.
Then they feel awkward.
Check their vibe, but sometimes you can tell a kid is like. They would be like, I'll see a kid and their hair is amazing. I'll be like, wow, can you film a hair tutorial and send it to me because your hair looks amazing? And they like laugh or whatever. But just those little gestures of engagement and fun and lightheartedness, I think does build a relational gap as well. Build a relational gap?
Close a relational gap.
Fill a relational gap. Build
now go ahead
a relational
and finish your
bridge.
horse joke.
A horse walks into the kitchen and there's an ant and the ant looks up. I don't know.
Stop talking now.
But just like keeping it fun and lighthearted. And like I saw this kid sitting in a chair the other day and he was just like sitting all by himself. And I'm like, are you in a timeout? What did you do? And he just was like, got like instant smile. He goes, no, I'm just like chilling. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, you have 2 more minutes and then you can get up or, something like that. So I think those, to me, I've seen kids kind of come alive when you're jokey, when you're funny, when you are making light of things and, kind of make them smile and laugh a little bit. That's a tip. And then our next one, just ask them about things they love. So if they love, like I have this kid, Caden, and he's obsessed with his chickens. He has a chicken coop and he names them all and loves them all and is obsessed. And I always am like, Caden, how are the chickens? Like, what's going on? Kristen, we got 3 double yolks. There is a 1 in 27,000 chance of that happening. And I'm like, stop it. Oh my gosh, Caden, tell me more. And he just goes and goes and goes, loves talking to me about his chickens. He has a lizard he loves to talk about. He loves the animals. So every time
I ask him about Petco, I bet he's there all the time.
Different Petco. I don't think he likes baseball. Or, I have a kid who loves hunting and I'll say, all right, what was the best hunting trip you've ever been on? What's the biggest
kill you
animal you ever murdered, stuff like that. Even like I'm not super into video games, but kids that are, I'll be like, okay, best video game right now. What is it? And what video game did you play that made you just fall in love with video games? Like, have you ever beaten a game? Oh yeah, for me, Super Mario 3. Woo! Don't get me started. And if they're into like sports, that's a very easy one. And then their hobbies, like some of my older leaders, not older leaders, but like I have some
that have been around
junior
for a
leaders
while,
that are still in high school. So like they're seniors and they're on the swim team, and right away, how'd the meet go? Like, how'd you guys do? So what was the final score? Just asking them about their, like, what they're passionate about in life is a very, very easy win.
Yeah.
If you have a kid who surfs, like, hey, when's the last time you surfed? What's the best spot? Where do you like to go? Who do you like to go with? Who taught you how to surf? Just fire questions at them until they're
freak them out, really.
But like, honestly, that was kind of the next tip, is always keep the conversation.
Freak them out.
Keep the conversation focused on them.
Yeah.
Like, always keeping the conversation like all about you, asking them good questions, engaging with them. So when you start to turn it back on yourself, kids got to get bored and checked out a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe if they ask, go for it. They won't ask because they don't care, but asking them about their life, and this is now communicating love, care, value. I see you. I'm celebrating you. I'm glad you're here. Stop. All right. And then a final tip on that is, a lot of these principles that I talked about just now come from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was one of the first books I've ever read in ministry. And ironically, it's not about ministry. It's about people skills and relational skills. And it kind of changed how I saw conversations and how to win people over through the art of conversation. And I will say, and Jeff and I talk about this a lot, most people, no offense to most people watching, probably not you, probably people, other people are very bad at conversation.
Yeah.
Very bad at it. And a lot of adults are terrible at it. All they know how to do is talk about themselves. All they know how to do is bring the conversation back to them. They don't know how to be interested in other people. They don't know how to make people feel seen. They don't know how to ask a good question to get a conversation started. So Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, was huge. And it taught me how to talk to people and win them over, which is really important in ministry. And then third tip, I'm calling this one Close the Gap. And it's a little bit of what we were talking about in number 1 of the playing, but this idea now extends a little bit further, is wherever the kids are, be there. So sit with them. One of my interns was speaking this weekend, and I sat on the ground with the kids on the concrete floor and listened to the message, because I'm like, this is what we're doing. We are sitting, listening to him speak now. I'm not like in the back, like I'm going to just do something else. It's like, I'm sitting with you guys, worship with them. I do all the hand motions. I'm right in the thick of it. I'm not standing in the back. I will be sore for 3 days because when I play dodgeball, I go all out and, pay for it later. But playing the games, worshiping, the message with them, they need to, and here's the reason why, here's the thinking behind that, is they need to see you accessible and involved. They can't, like, we don't want students to ever look at us as like, oh, that's the pastor, like reverence to them. And they're sort of different. They're held in a different esteem. And like, there's a degree of separation between us regular people and them. It's like, nope. You're there. You're doing it all. You're eating where they're eating. You're sitting where they're sitting. You're worshiping along with them. Don't separate yourself or put a degree there because you have a different role. Nothing you have to do is more important than be where they are. I cringe when I watch youth pastors do this, of where it's like, hello, there's a million brand new kids here. Where are you? Like, there's people that
green room.
Maybe
eating their snacks.
Okay, that's a great point. And this is because this is our church's DNA. Our senior pastors have no green room, which at a church our size is very rare. So when they get off the stage, where do they go?
The bathroom.
No, they go right into the plaza and they have to be with everyone and people come up to them and talk and they have full access. And that's what we want students to see when they see us is that leadership, those people are accessible because we serve them. It's not like we are in some other category that gets this extra reverence and special treatment and they get to go in the green room and whatever. Whereas a lot of senior pastors, they go in the back, and I've been at large churches and I've seen these green rooms and they're amazing, but North Coast, it's like you go backstage and it's, another double door to the outside. There's nothing there. There is no backstage. There is no green room. In fact, when I perform on that stage for like skits for a conference and everything, we're literally like sardines, like behind the set because there's nowhere to go. The stage is it.
Yeah.
And I think what that communicates is a very core value. It's not just like, well, we didn't have enough money for a green room. It's a core value of accessibility that now us as youth pastors are bringing to our little congregations of the youth ministry.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's another tip. So last week we talked about COLEADER and our listeners were stoked on it. I was like, oh, this is like exciting. Yeah. So we explained it all last episode, and I just wanted to make another quick mention of it because this tool is going to make your life so much easier. You're going to love it. And you can sign up for a free trial through the end of May. So you have a little bit of May left, but make sure all you have to do is give them your email address. You get free access to take it for a test drive. They give you a roadmap of not only curriculum, but events and meetings and graphics and all of it. You can take their suggestions or you can plug and play your own, what you choose from them. So if I could go back and invent something when I was 21 for me to have as a youth pastor, it would have been COLEADER. So check it out. You can try it out for free. Don't miss out. We will include the link in our description below.
There you go. Good
I always
job.
have a hard time saying that. So here's bottom line. Students need to answer the question, do I belong here? And through all these things of us today talking about like how pastors can engage them, we're basically trying to tell people you belong here. If it doesn't come naturally to you, hey, practice these 3 tips.
2, 1.
And maybe it'll improve your relationship game. Yeah. I hope so.
I am a fellow introvert for all of you out there who are listening to this or watching this and thinking, this is me. So I'm with you. I am with you. So also, if this is not you, maybe you're great at this, or maybe you're struggling with this and it was something that you found a lot of value. If there's someone else you know that could benefit from hearing this episode, please go ahead and send them a link to it, whether in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to post it. Slide to their DMs.
And I would also
share it.
Like to know from those people who are very good at it. Comment below, like, what have you found is like a immediate win in connecting with students? Because I know there's more than what we talked about tonight. These were like 3, but there are some youth pastors out there with incredible relational skills that I'm like, you share the secrets. Yeah. Like, tell us how you win kids over, talk to them, interact with them, connect. We want to know.
Yep. Hopefully it's just something as simple as pull my finger, toot, toot.
I forgot to mention that. Fart jokes, barf jokes, booger jokes. Just kidding.
All right, let's do a community comment of the day, and then we will get into our special announcement. This comes from Sarah. That's all her name is on YouTube.
I know her.
She says, thank you for putting out the content I need.
We knew you did,
and
Sarah.
Then there's like a goat emoji. I think it's a goat.
Oh, because we are the goat.
I don't know, maybe. But we thank you so much, Sarah, for putting that in there. We do our best to provide content that youth pastors, youth workers need.
Yes.
And so we hear
Tactical
you.
And practical.
When people email us or message us and say there's certain things they're struggling with, we keep that in mind and we try and get episodes that kind of relate to that.
Give us your episode ideas. We'll do it.
So, special announcement. This is actually our 149th episode.
That's my favorite number.
And I feel like we've kind of just set precedent with the last 2 times we've hit 50 episodes with doing a giveaway. So we're gonna continue with that, at least for the time being, and do another giveaway for our 150th episode, which is coming out next week. So make sure you check it out. If you want early access to be a part of the giveaway and to get bonus entries, enter in the comment section below. If you know, and you will get some bonus entries into our giveaway.
I think that's how someone won last time. They were a you know person.
Well, we give several prizes away, and this.
What are we giving away, Jeff?
Well, you'll have to wait until next week to find that out.
You don't know.
But I do know.
Oh, I don't know.
And it's interesting this year because we're not going to do like little prize, grand prize. We're just doing kind of like 5, I guess, grand prizes.
Whoa.
I think 5. Well, we'll wait and see. So, anyways, make sure you guys
so much mystery.
Tune in next week for that information. But yeah, if you want to get an early start, go ahead and put in just this episode, put if you know in the comment section, and we will credit you with those entries. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Today, we're talking about 3 tips to help you connect with students in youth ministry.
Enter into the description. No.
Best way to recruit the right people for your ministry volunteer team is. Today on the, you said the youth ministry podcast. That's not what it's called.